Hi, Steve here. Before I get started on this video, on this topic, I just want to say what a joy and what a thrill it is for me to see our 47th president back in the White House again. The last 4 years have been literally a psychological, emotional, I've maintained my spiritual relationship with the Lord, but it's been mental anguish and torture, seeing what these devils have been doing to this country, trying to destroy us. They worked really hard. The only thing you can give them credit for, and all the blame doesn't go to Joe Biden, it's the deep state behind him. They're the ones who were pushing all these things. They're the ones who gave a total blanket pardon to all the criminals. We'll see how that plays out. But what I want to say is that the last 4 years, as bad as they've been for most of us, for most of real Americans and real America, we're back with a president who is not going to support evil, who is not going to promote evil. I saw something here about these last 4 years that we've all endured. Without those last 4 years, I guess you'd call this the silver lining. Well, it really is, because in the last 4 years, America has really been awakened to just how corrupt this government is and how corrupt it's been for decades. So the education level has gone from here to way off the charts, way off the charts. We've learned, and we've learned a whole lot. And number two is, when President Trump was almost assassinated, that was a wake-up call for him too, in so many ways. And only the Lord knows exactly what the thoughts were that went through his head. But it was a wake-up call, another wake-up call. So I see the blessings within the trials of the 4 years we all experienced and the one attempt on his life, a second one that was foiled. It's not over. I'm not naive enough to think that they will just quit and go away calmly. But now we have a president, a commander-in-chief in charge of this country, leading us in moral ways, leading us in fairness and justice. So we have a lot to look forward to. But we still have a lot of challenges. One of those big challenges is weather manipulation. The persistent, brutal cold weather ahead may be more serious for farmers, certain businesses, and even energy suppliers, not to mention human life. I would suspect some people may freeze, because if they lose power or don't have enough wood for their stoves, bad things are going to happen. Extreme weather events like frozen temperatures are becoming increasingly common, and with them comes a heightened sense of urgency. If we don't take action, the consequences could be catastrophic for our food supply and energy structure. When extreme cold hits, crops start to fail, and farmers are left with significant losses. This can have a ripple effect throughout the entire food chain, leading to food shortages and price hikes. Energy suppliers struggle to keep up with demand as heating systems work overtime to keep homes warm. The result? Power outages, rolling blackouts, and even total grid failures. Crop failures are just one part of the problem. When temperatures drop, soil quality suffers, and water availability decreases, making it even harder for farmers to recover. Add to that the increased risk of livestock disease and death, and you have a perfect storm of agricultural disaster. In the energy sector, pipes freeze, and infrastructure becomes vulnerable to damage, putting entire communities at risk. The consequences of extreme cold weather aren't just theoretical. We've seen it happen time and time again, and it's getting worse. In Russia, farmers have seen yields plummet due to unpredictable weather patterns. In the UK, energy suppliers are struggling to keep up with demand as temperatures plummet. The list goes on, and the message is clear. Our current systems are woefully unprepared to handle the challenges of a frozen future, or massive hurricane events like we saw last summer. Our agricultural and energy systems are being pushed to the breaking point, and we're starting to see cracks in the foundation. The question is, Can we really sustain our current model of food production and energy distribution in a world that's getting colder? Not to mention over 100 processing plants that burned to the ground or were destroyed in the last 4 years. The answer, unfortunately, is no. At least not without significant changes. Fire and floods, the rise of climate whiplash, LA's off-the-charts dryness keeps the risk of new fires high. Rain is desperately needed. Weather whiplash, winter storm systems swept across the east this weekend ahead of a massive Arctic outbreak. The Trump inauguration was moved indoors due to a record cold. So what's the problem? Welcome to chemical ice nucleation cloud seeding winter weather warfare. From precipitation blocking engineered atmospheric high pressure zones to chemical ice nucleation cloud seeding, covert climate disruption operations are wreaking havoc around the world and in America. Man has to stop playing God, or this earth will reach a breaking point. Farmers and energy suppliers are on the front lines, fighting to keep our lights on and our bellies full. It's time for us to take action to support them and to build a more resilient future for ourselves. The cold air will have widespread, wide-reaching impacts on everyday life and the economy, like stressed power grids due to increased heating demands, closed schools, health impacts, and dangerous temps, as low as minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't even keep my freezer that low. Bitterly cold air is on track to return in earnest across a wide swath of the nation this week. Residents from the northern plains to even the Gulf Coast will have noticeably cooler conditions, I'd say more frozen conditions through midweek, with some forecasts to experience downright dangerous temperatures. These are all things that we're facing, in addition to the other attacks that the globalists are not going to stop or ease up from. So please, if you're a praying Christian, and you should be, pray, pray, pray for our president, for this country, and for all of humanity of this earth. Think about it.